So this video I'm going to be speaking about some of the facets that I'm writing about in my book. And the title, Closer to God, a supernatural experience, or experiencing the supernatural cosmos. I think that's what it is. Closer to God, experiencing the supernatural cosmos. Because we're having a supernatural experience. Everything about this cosmos is supernatural. And when we look at the human being over, for as long as we can remember via our documentation, we will see that the human being has naturally had the propensity to feel connected to something higher and to search for that thing that they feel they're connected to, or they are, or they were, or something of this nature. There's something which is very curious about the human being. And so, closer to God, for me, is my journey exploring that. My journey hitherto of what I've discovered via my philosophy, via my psychological introspection, via my study, via my religiosity, via my spirituality or spiritualism, via these avenues, via my humanism. They've all been put in a tumble dryer, so to speak, and I've been juggling these facets for this past 12 years, and with all of the experiences that I've had and all of the knowledge that I've acquired, there's something forming now. And so what I've actually discovered, of course, is that first and foremost we are supernatural beings. Supernatural, that's to say we're over and above the natural. The natural facet is the illusory facet. There is no real reality to it, which of course is very bizarre and paradoxical and difficult to grasp and accept. But I relate things like this. I'm speaking at this moment in time in chapter number 8, and the chapter is titled How to Know God. And then I go on to say, well, it's actually more like how I have come to know God and what God means to me, what the concept actually means to me. Because obviously, the concept of God invariably will mean something which is subject to ourselves, unless, of course, we have had the misfortune to have been seriously indoctrinated. I.e., like in lots of Middle Eastern countries, there is no philosophy at all. There's no spirituality. There's just dead desert dogma, and that's pretty vile. That's pretty toxic. Then, mostly in the West, we are given to at least having the freedom of being able to mix it with spirituality or philosophy, and nobody will try and kill us for it, you know. And so I've mixed up my stuff. Look at that, speak of the devil. Speak of the devil. You know, I don't want to decry anyone's religion, but and you know, the best of intellectuals and philosophers and socialist people who are given to accepting all and everybody. They've got something to say about that dogma because it isn't healthy. And if I'm ever going to get a thumbs down or a death threat, then it's speaking about that. And so that says it all, doesn't it? You know, it really is something. And you know, it's a curious thing because I'm an open-minded person, willing to give anything the benefit of the doubt, but I have tried reading that scripture on lots of occasions, and I've just been stumped with the threatening nature of it. Every single line is a threat that if you don't believe, then woe betide, you're going to suffer God's wrath in any shape and form. Vile. Let me get out of that vibration. You see what it's told me already? So, this is the tree where I foraged those apples from, by the way. And you can see that there's still quite a lot on it, but very difficult to obtain. But I managed anyway because I used a long staff with a hook on to pull the branches down. So anyway, getting back to this book. My interpretation of what it is. Oh, an aphid just got in my eye. You see, if you don't edit your videos, then you've got this sort of stuff happening. So what does God mean to me? Well, the experiences that I've had, of course, have coloured my world. The environment with which I've grown up in has coloured my world. But because I have been a prolific traveller in my life, I have been into the African bushlands, and I have asked people about their indigenous religions, and living in Australia, speaking with the Aborigines about their dream time, and then studying, you know, Buddhism, Jainism, Zarathustrianism, Christianity, and different facets of that, like Mormonism, and all these sort of things. I'm like, well, it's all well and good reading all this stuff, but what does it mean to me? And if I can't feel the godly presence in my heart, then all I'm going to be doing is faking it. And you see, I discovered something about this faking it people in this last year, and that's why this last year was so super powerful to me, because I looked really, really closely at the concepts of belief and faith, and then I experienced them at their core level by taking them on board and being given to belief and faith, and seeing what manifested out of those mindsets. And I've got a lot to say about that, because one of the greatest revelations that I've ever had in my life came out of my study in relation to belief and faith. But I'm not at that stage where I'm going to be speaking about that yet. I'm just now tentatively delving into the arena of what I'm speaking about when I speak of God. And albeit I've laid claim, which I'm standing by absolutely like concrete, even to this day, of my engagement with Jehovah and Jesus and hell and angels. All these things pertain to the Christian variety of religion. And I was speaking to my daughter about it only an hour ago. And I'm saying, well, look, you know, because I was born in the West and my culture predominantly is Western, then it stands to reason if I'm going to dream of a God, then it would be the Jewish God. And if I'm going to dream of someone, a beautiful prophet, then it isn't going to be Abraham, is it? Or Muhammad. It's going to be Jesus. And so I have to concede that there's a cultural thing that's going on. And then I look deeper and I go, well, look, if I have had Jesus come to speak to me, then would I have had some other God had I been brought up in another culture? And I would think most certainly I would. So then I will say, well, okay, is God and Jesus and Allah and Krishna, all these varieties of deities, are they culturally bound? Do they only go to visit people who are born in their culture? Either that happens, or our mind creates these deities. Now we start to get somewhere, because if I had a visitation, for instance, from Muhammad, and he told me the way into, the kingdom of God is via him, then I would like, really? And I would have had a bit of a problem on my hands, because there would have been too many conflictory feelings in relation to that. But because it was Jesus, I'm perfectly happy with the Jesus thing, because I grew up with it. And of course at school we do nativity plays, and our kids do nativity plays, and it's ingrained within us. I've just stopped here because of this. These are shaggy parasol, and they are a fine edible mushroom. They're sweet. In actual fact, this mushroom is more palatable raw than it is cooked, and so I'm looking forward to finding some bigger ones, and down here they're all around here, but I know I don't like to forage food from along these pathways, because there's been a million dogs that have pissed and shat all over the place, and so I don't like the idea of these mushrooms growing out of that variety of compost. So anyway, I digressed again. It's so complex, people, and if you are interested in this sort of stuff, then I would advise you to read the book, because excuse me. Then we start to get into the realm of Jungian archetypes. And if we've got any knowledge about these things, then it's very useful to us. And so with the Jungian archetypes, these are archetypal entities which have been within our collective unconscious as human beings for millennia. hundreds of thousands of years. If we consider that the human being in its present form has been on this planet for 1.5 million years, then I would think that close on that we've had this collective unconscious which we've shared, and it's in the ether, and we tap into it, and all the information and experience that we have, it goes back into it. It's consciousness en masse, people. And so if we have powerful iconography, archetypes within our conscious, then it seems to me that if we're gonna be destabilized emotionally, which is the condition we need to be in before we have one of these spiritual experiences, they don't really come about when you're jumping around with joy and everything's going your way. They come about when we are in a difficult mental state where we're searching for equilibrium. The thing is about black bows, there's a very broad spectrum of tastes, and just those two bushes, there's a lot of difference in how they tasted. And so if I was a connoisseur and I wanted to make the best apple and blackberry pie, I'd need to be careful and very selective which of the berries that I use, because some of them are a great deal sweeter than others. So when we look at what has actually gone on, did Jesus really speak to me? Who the F am I? You'll all be asking. Oh, awake and brave. Why do you think you're so special that Jesus speaks to you? He's got the time to come and speak to you. Well, because I'm great. That's why. And he took the time to come to speak. He's took the time to come to speak with great people. Come on, I'm fucking with you guys and gals. But no, I am great. I'm great. But as to why Jesus took the time, did he really take the time? Did his spirit really take the time? If we think that Jesus is an entity and there's only one, well, he's going to be a very busy person getting round to drop the odd message into people's psyche here and there. And when I had that experience, I'm like, why me, Jesus? It's not like I even believe in you. I mean, now it's kind of like, well, I can't discount that experience. And it's probably like, aha, you see, that's why I came to you, asshole. Because you've been reading the book about me and the Father for all these years, and you've still got this level of incalcitrance about you, and you just won't accept that we are real. So myself and the Father had to come and have a word with you. And we also had to send you into hell for 18 hours. And first and foremost, we even sent you a couple of angels. Do you get it now? I'm like, I'm starting to. But I'm a product of human incalcitrance, stubborn, given to not believing in our own experience. And particularly in view of the fact that when we educate ourselves that we are not really having a corporeal experience, then it's easy to dismiss everything. Because everything's fantasy and, iconography and imagery and ideas. So then I'm like, well, so what happened to me then that day Jesus came? An idea of Jesus came. So if I say to you guys, the idea of Jesus spoke to me in my mind, would you be much more comfortable with that? I'm pretty sure that the vast majority of you, he wouldn't sit well with you when I'm telling you that the man, Jesus, God himself, the Son, the God and the Spirit, came and dropped me a message. I'm pretty sure that you wouldn't be too overjoyed about that. You may be riddled with jealousy, or you'd be trying anything to dismiss it. And those of you which are really open-minded and loving and caring and love the awake and brave, you're going to go, oh no, I believe you, Aaron. You know, why wouldn't Jesus come to you? You know, he's been to lesser people. For sure he's been to lesser people. And so, I had an idea of God, Jesus, hell, angels, and when I have taken entheogens, I've had an idea of seeing God in the clouds and cherubs and bat-winged creatures and all this. So I've had ideas, people, about a lot of stuff. And so that's what I'm trying to convey in this book. But I'm trying to, you know, work out what actually did I experience? Who actually experienced it? All right, mate. Who was it? What was it? And it's kind of like, it's very, very difficult to nail. And so all I can do is just give you a bunch of hypotheses and speak about it from as many facets as is feasible without running rings around in an Ouroboros type of way, whereby we just end up eating our own tails and nothing comes out of it save for the abyss. And this is it, people. We have to kind of stop somewhere. And this is the whole thing why we're given to belief. Because this whole experience that we're having, when you really look into it, is very hard to believe. And so the gift of belief that the human being has, or spirit has, ego has, you see, again, who has it? Who has it? Who has this gift of faith or belief? I believe I'm Aaron, I'm a human being, I'm walking down the road, I. Who's I? We don't know who I is, we just invent other concepts about it. And so this is it. And so when I make a video about, hello simple people, I realise most of you are simple people, I get it, but unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know about that either. I'm not one of those simple people, so therefore there's a good deal of complication in my life. But it's not the variety of complication whereby I'm suffering, because it's just a thinking process. And I'll make this video and I'll give it all this, and then all of a sudden I'm as calm as as cool as a cucumber again. I'm just expressing, I'm utilising the facility of what it is to be a human being. And I'm looking at the strangeness of being a human being, and I'm asking questions about it. And it takes a long time. And in the book, you see, what's happening is that I'm having to really think hard about how to write this stuff, how to convey, how to keep in a certain ballpark at a certain time, because I can't keep jumping in and out of the spiritual realm and the so-called corporeal realm. I've got to speak from a facet and exhaust that, and then speak from another facet and exhaust that, and then look at both of these facets together and exhaust that, until hopefully I'll be able to conclude something. But I don't know as yet what I'm going to be concluding. Just an abundance. So anyway, for those of you that get to the end of my videos, I commend you, because you are much closer to being a spiritually awoken human being, to be able to tolerate, to be able to stay with the videos. Lots of you'll know that dismissing any of my videos because I'm not super engaging you at any given time is the worst thing you could do in relation to my videos, because you don't know when I'm going to drop the bomb on you. Anytime I will drop a bomb during any of my cooking videos, and people will think like, oh, cooking like boring, I'm not interested in that. But during the spate of half an hour of talking about cooking, all of a sudden something will come up and I'll lay something before you, you know, which wouldn't be amiss in the greatest of philosophy realms. I'll just, you know, almost casually, I'll just drop something on you. So those of you that stay to the end of each video, then you're the wisest of all. Those of you that don't have the patience, you've missed so much, and you always will be missing because you don't have the tenacity or the staying power or the patience what it's going to take to evolve. We have to be exceedingly patient, people. And so when we listen to somebody and we have an intuition that this person's got something for me, then you'll stick around. And you know, the people that I listen to, one of the most powerful persons in my life at this moment in time, and has been for several years, is Jordan Peterson, as I often mention, because he thinks very similar to how I think, or we share that same space, because him being a psychoanalyst, being a university professor and lecturer on psychology, very steeped in philosophy and religion, he brings them all together, just like I do. And you'll never listen to him speaking about anything without him bringing in the numinous, the religious and the spiritual, because he knows they're inseparable, and you simply cannot speak without incorporating them all. And that's the dilemma, and that's why it takes a long time, and we need to be patient. So for those of you that got this far, well done, congratulations.